Hello and welcome back to Lugs and Levers. My name is Joachim, and today on the bench we have this Longines latest watch. It will be a gift for a special someone here since Christmas is coming up. The watch is running, although not very good. Just checking the movement of the hands here to make sure everything is alright, and also aligning them so that it's easier to take them off. You can see the watch is in pretty good condition, a bit dirty, but the dial looks like it's in really good condition. Let's see if we can pop the case back. Using a bit of plastic here to protect the gold plated part as well. Beautiful movement here inside. Let's try to remove the stem and crown. Very small parts, so you just need to use one point of my tweezers here. Let's see if we can figure out how to get into the rest of the watch. Since it's a front loader, we need to remove the glass somehow. Then I got this really nifty tool from Bergeron where you can lift the glass. See if we can get it off. There we go, the glass is off. As you can see, the dial looks pretty good condition, although a bit dirty. Crystal is pretty scratched up. Also a bit of crazing. So I'll go ahead and replace that one. Let's gently remove the hands using these hand levers. Using a bit of plastic also to protect the dial. Then we can put the hands away. Then I finally figured it out. You can pop the bezel off. That would have made the whole process a lot easier. Gently pressing here with my case knife. Got a new version polished here instead, so there's less risk of damaging anything. There we go, the bezel is off. Then we can take out the movement and the dial. Let's go ahead by removing the dial. It's attached with these dial screws. Or I should say one of these dial screws, the other one actually fell off. Then we can gently lift the dial using the plastic probe here. When that's off, we can start disassembling the movement for service, starting with the balance wheel. Trying to tilt it to help it come out. There we go. Well, let's continue by removing the pallet bridge. Also then the pallet fork. You can see there was still a bit of wine left in the movement, indicating that it's indeed time for a service. Now we flipped it around, removing the cannon pinion. Since it's so small, I actually have to use the side of the Presto tool here. Then while we're here, we can continue to remove the rest of the keyless works, starting with the setting lever spring. See if we gently can lift it up. There we go. And we continue with the intermediate wheel. Then we continue with the minute wheel. Then let's see if we can get this spring out. Here we go. Being gentle so it doesn't fly away. Then we also can remove the clutch lever. And the winding pinion. And the clutch. And let's flip the movement over. Starting with the crown wheel screws here. And also the crown wheel center. And then the crown wheel. Then we can start to work on the ratchet wheel. Moving first the screw. And then we have the ratchet wheel itself. Then we unscrew the screw for the click. Then we remove the click itself. Then we have another spring here. Click spring. Gently taking it off. Then let's remove the wheel bridge. Held in place with these two screws. See if we can put that off. There we go. And as you see, this movement actually has an additional wheel here. Not sure the reason for it, or if it's just that they want to have the escape wheel going in the opposite direction than it's usually doing. Removing the escape wheel here. Then we are working on the barrel bridge here. Setting lever fell out. Remove the center wheel. And then the third wheel. Let's pick up the barrel complete. Let's get it open and see how the mainspring is looking. Here, taking off the lid here using my tweezers. And then removing the barrel arbor. And let's see if we can walk this mainspring out. As you can see, using my fingers here and holding one side of the mainspring while the other is I'm letting it go. Then when everything is disassembled, it's time for cleaning, starting here by pegging all the jewel holes. And also cleaning up any old debris or gunked up oil or anything. Just so it is as clean as it can be after the cleaning process. Doing this from both sides on all the jewels, all the different bridges. Here you can see same thing on the barrel bridge. Just making sure that it's as clean as it can be so that the cleaning process can do its job. Same goes for any parts that are a bit more dirty, such as the barrel, for example. And for all the pivot points, for all the wheels, I'm using this pin polisher just to clean it up as much as possible. And here on the case, using pegwood to scrub it to remove any wrist cheese or any old debris and gunked up stuff. Then when we are back from cleaning, we can start by installing a new mainspring. Having the colored side up here, making sure that it's right-handed. Then gently pressing it in. Making sure that the end of the spring is in and also that the center is lined. Then we can install the barrel arbor, just aligning up the notch in the spring with the hook in the arbor. It clicks into place. Then we can put just a little bit of HP 1300 before we close the barrel. We can use this tool to press down evenly. Then we put a little bit of HP 1300 here between the barrel arbor and the barrel lid. And then we can start assembling the rest of the movement. Center wheel here, putting a little bit of HP 1300 on the pivot point of that wheel before installing it. Then we have the third wheel. And we can install the barrel bridge. Also checking side shake here. Needs to do some correction to that. We do that by putting it in our staking set. And then we can use the smoothing broaches just to enlarge the hole slightly by pushing away some material. Then let's see how we did. My thumb is in the way, but looks a lot better. Now we can then install the barrel bridge. Tightening it down with these two screws. And then a little bit of HP 1300 here between the barrel arbor and the bridge. Now let's figure out the orientations of all the wheels here, starting with the escape wheel. Does not want to go into the pivot. Let's see if we can get it. Ah, finally. Then we can install the train wheel bridge. Just need to align all the pivots of all these 4 wheels. Gently trying to work it in. Can check that it's spinning freely. Then we can put the screws in for the wheel bridge. Make sure it's tightened down. And as you can see, I'm holding the bridge here, and that's to avoid to any of the pivots to slip out while I'm tightening it. Now let's move our attention to the click spring. Placing it as close as possible where we want it. Hold it in place and bring it down with our tweezers. And we can put on the ratchet wheel. The ratchet wheel screw. And make sure that it's nice and tight. Then put a little bit of HP 1300 for the click. Placing the click in the click screw. And of course making sure that it's tight. Then we move to the ratchet wheel. A little dab of HP 1300 on the surface where the wheel will meet the center or the core. We can place the crown wheel core. Sometimes you're lucky with the screws. Then let's lubricate some of the pivot points that are difficult to reach. Lubricating some of the wheels here with HP 1300 and for example the escape wheel with 9010. A different viscosity of the oils depending on the speed of the wheel and the torque. And some HP 1300 on the center wheel as well as the bottom of the barrel. And also removing any extra. Then we move to the keyless works. Putting a bit of grease on the winding pinion here. Same goes for the clutch. And for the setting lever. And we're putting a little bit of grease on the clutch here and also the post for the clutch lever. Then we have the spring. Gently bring it in. Oops. Then put a little bit of grease on the contact surface between the spring and the clutch lever. Now we have the cannon pinion. Starting with that so we don't share the teeth out of some of the wheels when we install it, since that requires a little bit of force. Then we have the intermediate wheel and the minute wheel. Now with the setting lever spring. You can just gently nudge it in place. And then we can finally tighten the screws and then add a little bit of grease to the surfaces. Then let's check the function and removing any excess grease. Oh, you can see the rotor core has gone static. Here I'm moving the shock setting for the main plate. With the capstone and the chaton. Leaning it with a piece of pegwood. Then we put it in some essence of Renata. And then we lubricate it with a drop of 90-10. Then we can place it back into the movement. And then we can close the shock setting again. Then let's clean the pallet fork. Scrubbing away any dried up oil on the functional surfaces. And also here, putting it in some essence of Renata to dissolve any remaining oil. When it's clean and dried, we can place it back. Then we have the pallet fork bridge. Gently trying to move it in place. And applying a tiny amount of pressure here while we manipulate the fork. Trying to get the pivot into the jewel. Here we go. Place back the screw. Make sure everything is tightened down. Then we can just put a little bit of wind into the movement so that we can check the function of the pallet fork. Something's wrong. So I think I know the issue, and that's related to the barrel. There was no power in the movement. The problem is that the inner coil of the mainspring is slightly too large. So let's try to make it a little bit smaller and then to install everything back. That looks much better. Now we can lubricate the impulse faces of the pallet fork. We do that and then we move it 5 times. And since you need to flip the movement over to lubricate it on this, I only showed this once, but I did it 3 times. And then we can put the balance into some essence of Renata for cleaning as well. Then gently drying it. And we can install the balance. Let's see if we have a running movement. Oh, you can see it really wants to run, even though one of the coils is on top of the center wheel. Here we go. back in place. Let's get the screw installed. And let's clean the top shock setting as well. Using a bit of rudder coat that's not static here. Some old oil left that we need to clean. So again, using pegwood while holding the capstone in my tweezers, and when it's clean we can put a bit of 9010 here as well. Just want the right amount to cover roughly 50%. Then we can put the chaton back. And then we can put it back onto the balance. And here we have the results on the Timegrapher. As you can see, we have a decent amplitude, running a little bit fast, beat error looks good. Let's just slightly tune it here. Using my screwdriver here to move this screw to see if we can get a better result. There we have it. Just a few seconds fast, that's really good. Beat error is down to 0 milliseconds. And I wanted to run a little bit fast since it's a manual wound movement. Then we have the new crystal here to be installed. Here, using my crystal press. This is on actually the limit of the dice that I have on the smaller side. Let's see if we can make it work. There we have it. The crystal is now installed into the bezel. Now let's turn our attention to the dial. Do a little bit of cleaning, just removing any loose dirt and dust and debris. And let's put on the hour wheel. And we have a new dial washer here as well. And we can place the dial back on. The dial screws, one on each side. And we can place the whole thing back inside the case. And before we can put the hands on, we need to put in the crown. Cannot see it, it's behind my hand press here. But here we have a problem. There was a small hole in one of my finger cots. So there was actually a little bit of sweat coming onto the dial, and that was enough to actually break the surface of the varnish. So let's see if we can fix it. So gently cleaning it up with some pegwood and Rodrico here, so we don't make it worse. I don't think it's actually visible to the naked eye anymore, only in high magnification. So note to self, always check your finger cuts. Then we can place the hour hand. Then we have the minute hand as well. Just aligning it where we want to, and then we press it on. And if you listen closely, this is where I almost got caught. Luckily she didn't look what was under the glass. And then I actually decided to get a new crystal again, because there were some defects on the first one. So here we are back again with a new crystal. Bezel is already installed. Then we have a new strap where we will replace the buckle with an vintage Longines original. Then we can put the strap back in. So I would like to thank you, all of you who have watched my video so far. Now we are ready with this one. Hopefully it will be a really good Christmas present. And thank you very much, and see you in the next one.